Hare Krishna. It's an honor and my good fortune to be with you in your association, even though in a virtual setting. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. If you are watching this video, you have come along a long way with us, the GBC College team, and we are so grateful to you for allowing us to serve you through this past year. It seems as if it was just yesterday when you first received that email to fill out some forms, and then the confirmation that yes, you've been selected to participate in this training. Let's roll back in time and visualize what went through your minds, what went through our minds when we first boarded that plane, that train, or that car to get to that Govardhan Eco Village, when we were shuttled by those golf carts to get to our places of residence or to the temple to take darshan, and that auspicious opening ceremony of the GBC College. And when you heard that bell ring and we all sat down to start this journey together. It was a historic moment and it will always remain so. Nobody can ever take this position from you of being the first batch of trainees at the GBC College. It's like Srila Prabhupada boarding that Jaladuta and going to the West to spread this movement all over the world. He was the first and he will always remain the first. The GBC body is so grateful to you, and I'm sure very proud of you for your great accomplishments, for your dedication, for your commitment, and for your sacrifice to complete this training. We at the GBC College, the trustees, the advisors, the faculty, their assistants, the staff, technical, managerial, secretarial, we are so grateful to you for allowing us this opportunity to be your partners in this great journey. And this journey that you have embarked on to spread the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world more effectively than ever before by embarking on this training, by undergoing this training. And we are ever so grateful to you. The purpose of this session is to take you through this entire year of training. You won't have to spend one more year, but just about 15-20 minutes and go through all the online coursework, the residentials, the action learning projects, and the conference calls that you did, and map it to the job description of a zonal supervisor, your duties and responsibilities, the competencies, that the skills, the abilities that you're supposed to have as a zonal supervisor that will facilitate you to do your job as a zonal supervisor. So my hope is to accomplish this in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Just kind of starting with the beginnings of the college, the curriculum development. What kind of leaders did this college want to train? I mean, as you know, it was leaders like you who are going to be the zonal supervisors. And this position, job description, was created by the GBC body as per their resolution in February 2014. And that marked a cultural shift in ISKCON from simply appointing leaders to now requiring these leaders to undergo certain training. And here is the resolution that became the ISKCON law that required such training and that created this position. Now, why is training a necessity? Now, you have already undergone the training, but just for the record, as organizations expand, as they grow, as they mature from an entrepreneurial setting to a more structured organization, they go from one inspirational leader to multiple leaders, from one location to multiple locations, from one layer to multiple layers within the organization. And they need to be managed well so as to, first of all, maintain the original purpose for which the organization was created, in this case ISKCON, and to then make sure that there is standardization across all branches, across all centers, across all projects, across all communities. There is conformity to the standards, and there is greater need for unity, and hence there is need for training, especially management training. So what is management? Management is typically defined as planning, organizing, staffing, monitoring, and controlling. Planning, as you know, is thinking ahead. And organizing is creating this structure, creating these positions. And staffing is to fill these positions with qualified individuals who are well trained. And monitoring to make sure that things are executed as per plan. If not, we tweak the plan and we reinforce systems, or we introduce systems to make sure things go as planned, and that is an aspect of control. GBC College is helping with staff development, with training that will fill the positions, that will fulfill the needs of the society to fill these positions at various levels. And we're starting at the top with the zonal supervisor. And that's how you came to this college, that's how you were identified. Now, this is to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's desire for training leaders for effective management. As you can see from these letters that he wrote, he's emphasizing to train up the leaders. In the second quote, he even mentions the need for shadowing, and that might be the next phase in this training. The GBC College curriculum was developed with keeping in mind certain key objectives. And the objectives were to train and to equip our zonal supervisors with the knowledge, with the skills, values, and the spiritual strength that will help them to carry out the job of a zonal supervisor. And as I said earlier, we are going to map the curriculum, all the coursework that you did, with the job description of a zonal supervisor, with the responsibilities and competence. Now here is a list of responsibilities that come from the job description of a zonal supervisor. I know that you have it memorized. There are 22 key responsibilities. And here are, so in a nutshell, here is what the job of a zonal supervisor is. It is to assist the GBC zonal secretary with maintaining standards, both spiritual as well as organizational. It is to ensure compliance, to ensure conformity, and to ensure effectiveness, productivity in the zone. And it's to keep the managers, the temple presidents in their zone inspired, to promote sustainable growth, and to identify successors, and to select successors. And finally, to create and implement strategic plans. To do all of that, those were kind of a summary of the responsibilities from the job description. The job description also enlists 5 core competencies. And the first one is the personal competence of a zonal supervisor, that is you. So which is comprised of the skill set, and the skill set is briefly defined as completing of a relevant training. And the training that you just underwent, that is helping you to develop that skill set. The second aspect of personal competence is personal behavior. Your spiritual practices, your ethics, your values, and your understanding and your ability to present Srila Prabhupada's teachings, adherence to GBC rules and regulations and resolutions, your competence to do all these various things that are listed here on this slide. The second aspect, and finally, this is also part of your personal competence, that you have the ability to develop and maintain relationships with devotees and ISKCON leaders. So this is all coming from the zonal supervisor job description. The second core competence is the knowledge. Knowledge of Srila Prabhupada's books, his teachings, his styles of management, the ISKCON law, all the GBC resolutions that have been passed. Your experience, which you all have in a relevant position within ISKCON, and the technical competencies, starting with computer literacy to budgeting and finance to negotiation, etc. And the fifth core competence is your ability to solve problems, your ability to plan and to make decisions. So the 5 core competencies were personal, knowledge, experience, technical competence, and problem solving, planning, and decision making ability. So with this in mind, we created this 1-year program that you have almost completed, and this is how it panned out. There was this first residential, then there were online courses in the first semester. Through the first semester we also had action learning projects and conference calls, and then the second residential followed by the online courses, and now we are planning your graduation that will happen on 26th February in Mayapur. So this is in a nutshell the 1-year journey that you have been on. Now let's look at the training modules based on the job description that you had. We developed this need for training in certain areas, and we classified them as these 5. We categorized them in these 5 areas: spiritual excellence, personal effectiveness, relationship effectiveness, organizational effectiveness, compliance, and administrative effectiveness. Now, what are these different modules? Under spiritual excellence, as you saw, as a person, you want to have strict sadhana, you want to have certain values, ethics, knowledge of Srila Prabhupada's books, his management style. Under personal effectiveness, you want to be effective in managing your time. Okay, so for personal effectiveness, we then designed courses that would make you more effective, more efficient, and productive as an individual. Again, with a view for you to carry out your job of a zonal supervisor. The third module is relationship effectiveness, which is about building relationships. And so we identified courses that would help you develop and maintain strong, fruitful, and rewarding relationships with other devotees and leaders in ISKCON. The fourth one is organizational effectiveness, and under that module we have courses that would help you improve the effectiveness of your zone through better systems, better planning, and foresight. And finally, the fifth module is compliance and administrative effectiveness. And in that module, we have courses that would assist you to conform with ISKCON's spiritual and administrative standards in various spheres of activity. It will help you to comply with the internal and external legal regulations. It will help you to protect your zone by making sure that your zone does not deviate from the norms, both spiritual and administrative. And it will help you keep your zone out of any potential legal troubles down the road by protecting the devotees, especially children in our society, by protecting copyrights, by keeping your zone financially stable, and by making your zone a safe and spiritual haven for all. Okay, so now let's look at each one of these modules one at a time and see what are your responsibilities and what are the competencies required under each module and what courses we offered in that module and how do they map. For example, in the first training module called Spiritual Excellence, you have these 2 competencies listed from the job description. In your job description, by the way, you will see that there are items that start with number 3. Those are the responsibilities. And there are items starting with 4. These are your core competencies. So spiritual excellence is a core competence. And here are the 2 items that relate to your spiritual excellence from the zonal supervisor job description, and we'll examine it. As you see here, the job description requires that you demonstrate exemplary personal behavior, be faithful in terms of spiritual practices, ethics, and the faithful presentation of Srila Prabhupada's teachings. The next item again emphasizes on spiritual standards. The spiritual standards, maintaining of spiritual standards, is also part of your responsibility that's listed in 3.3 that will show up on the next slide. We put it under relationship effectiveness. And for these, to build these competencies in a zonal supervisor, we offer the following courses that you might recall. Sadhana for leaders, the very first residential, the first couple of days, we had sannyasis, His Holiness Radhanath Swami, Giriraj Swami, Bhakti Charu Swami, and Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj, and they offered you these courses. Sadhana for leaders, Aparad, being Srila Prabhupada Nugas. Aparad was offered in the second residential. And the general topic of being Prabhupada Anugas. And the online course Vaishnava Sadachar. So they all focused on reinforcing excellence in your spiritual sphere. And then we had personal effectiveness as our next module. In this module, as you can see, there are responsibilities and then there are competencies. Competencies have been highlighted in this cyan blue color and this beige color, as you can see, and the responsibilities are left as is. Now let's highlight the key words in these responsibilities and key competence and see how they match up with the courses that we offer. So annual schedule of time, attending, conducting meetings, be able to handle pressure, and be results oriented. These are the key words under personal effectiveness. And the courses that we offer under this module are time management, chairing a meeting, fake debate, and the 4 principles for ISKCON leaders. Bhakti Charu Maharaj did this, that in 4 key principles. Your love for me will be shown by the way you cooperate. Never leave ISKCON. GBC as the ultimate managing authority, and unity in diversity. The result orientation might not have been so well covered, so that's a gap that we have identified and we need to fulfill. We'll talk about that a little later. The third module is relationship effectiveness, and once again we have picked up these responsibilities and competencies in this area. And once again, let's look at the key words: guidance and inspiration to centers, projects, and communities, and to ensure spiritual standards. Maintain and also grow in a sustainable fashion your communities, your projects, and centers. Foster trust and team spirit. Unity in diversity. So these are key words from the zonal supervisor responsibilities. Which courses did we offer that will help you to perform your responsibilities, to carry out your responsibilities in these areas? Community development, farm community, cultural engineers, situational leadership and empowerment. Now some of these courses, as you will see, they transcend boundaries. You can use them in multiple, they could be used in multiple modules, but we picked the module that they best belong to. And for unity and diversity, we picked Samanvaya, which was done twice, in the first residential as well as the second residential. Now looking at the second set of responsibilities and competence, encouraging devotees and to sustain their commitment to the principles of Krishna consciousness. Cooperative relationships, foster cooperative relationships. So for this, we offered courses such as reflective listening, red-black game, communication skills. Communication was a much broader course. It was also about the PR, but some of the aspects referred to these items in the job description. The last one, basic negotiation skills, that has not been covered because we could not arrange for the speaker to come for that specific topic, so we hope to take it up later. Now looking at the next item, which is the organizational effectiveness, that's our fourth module. Here is a list of various job descriptions and competence that you need to possess in order to be effective in that domain. And once again, let's look at the first one and look at the keyword, book distribution. And you very well remember the course that you just completed on book distribution by His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu. The next two items talk about succession, identifying and selecting ISKCON officers who will be your successors. We were not able to offer that course yet, so that's a gap. Looking at the next one, rectification of underperforming temples and temple presidents, officers, etc. For that, these courses such as systems thinking, temple administration, quality management, they might come handy. Looking at the next set of key responsibilities, let's look at the key words again. Strategic planning, communication strategies, and you remember the modules done by Gopal Bhatta Prabhu on strategic planning, and once again the communications course done by Uttama Prabhu. Evaluating future scenarios so individuals can pursue the best possible development opportunities. For that, and for assisting your GBC zonal secretary with the global mandate by contributing relevant suggestions. For this, we thought the courses on change management, why religious movements succeed and fail, that might help. The next one is the ability to spread Krishna consciousness in one's area of responsibility. And for that, you need various skills, some of them mentioned above, but in addition, you could also use the marketing module that was taught by Gopal Bhatta Prabhu, fundraising, ISKCON Online, developing Bhakti Habitats, the course that you again just finished. And finally, we have the competence of developing or setting short, medium, and long-term goals. And for this, again, strategic planning and project management type of courses might help. Now, project management is or can be used to manage any project, to bring about a change in an organization. That's a project. To do strategic planning is a project in itself. To develop any system and to implement a new system, that's a project. So for all these projects, we could use the tools and concepts that you learned in project management. So here is this broad list of courses that were offered to help you improve your effectiveness in managing the organizational systems within ISKCON, especially within your zone. Finally, the compliance and administrative effectiveness. For this, as you see, there are many responsibilities as well as competencies, and they are kind of clubbed together so we can show you the courses that address these key responsibilities and the competencies that you will need as a zonal supervisor. From the first one, the key word is ISKCON law. And the second one, adhere to GBC resolutions, again part of ISKCON law. Next you see dispute resolution, and this course on restorative justice might help. If you have negotiation skills, that might have helped. Communication skills would have helped. And then being knowledgeable about Prabhupada's instructions about management. So styles of management of Srila Prabhupada that we heard from Giriraj Swami and Bhakti Charu Swami in the first residential. And again, in the broader topic of being Srila Prabhupada Anugas by various sannyasis in the first and the second residential. The next one then is devotee care. And we did not offer a specific course in devotee care per se, but the course on temple administration had one module in it that did address devotee care. Okay, so in this responsibility you see 3.8 deity worship, and we did not offer a course in deity worship per se, but that's our future plan. The next item is submitting and receiving reports. The presentation on how to do PowerPoints, that might help you develop a presentation. But there are other things that you have to report as a part of the administrative procedures or to be compliant. For example, you learned many things in child protection as to how to report if there is a suspected abuse. The next set of responsibilities is your personal skills assessment and development and handling management questions, their queries and problems of management, personal problems of management. And we thought the courses such as the thinking hats, team building, community of inquiry, that might help you in those areas. Finally, the competence to read financial statements, basic budgeting skills and risk management, and your endeavors to ensure financial solvency. I think they were well covered in finance and budgeting course that you did in the first semester. So this is what we have in a nutshell. The one course that we were not able to offer was how to protect the property, trademarks, ISKCON trademarks, and how to comply with the legal regulations, internal and external, again due to Kuladri Prabhu's being busy with some other things, but that's our future plan. So this kind of covers all the various courses and how they map to your competencies and your responsibilities. Now let's look at them one at a time. So now let's look at these 5 different modules one at a time. Spiritual excellence is comprised of these courses: sadhana for leaders, avoiding offenses, the overall topic of being Srila Prabhupada Anugas, and the online course Vaishnav Sadachar. The next module, personal effectiveness, and maybe you can test yourself before I display which courses would fall under personal effectiveness. Time management, chairing a meeting, conducting a fake debate, and the 4 principles for ISKCON leaders that Bhakti Charu Swami did. Relationship effectiveness, the 3rd module. Culture of empowerment, community development, developing farm communities, cultural engineers, situational leadership, samanvaya, reflective listening, red-black game, and communication course. Now some of these courses, they span boundaries, they transcend boundaries, so they could fall under organizational effectiveness or relationship effectiveness. The next one, organizational effectiveness. And there are a lot of courses that we did in that one. Book distribution, systems thinking, temple administration, strategic planning, communications course, change management, why religious movements succeed or fail, marketing, again strategic planning, that's a typo, quality management, fundraising, ISKCON online, developing bhakti habitats, and finally project management. So once again, some of these courses could be used under relationship effectiveness. The last module is compliance and administrative effectiveness. And the courses that we did under this module were ISKCON law, restorative justice, Srila Prabhupada's management styles by Giriraj Swami, being Srila Prabhupada Anugas, this was done by many, sannyasis, temple administration, child protection, 7 thinking hats, community of inquiry, finance and budgeting. So as you can see the way they are lined up here, this is about the compliance, the top one. This is about spiritual excellence, again compliance with regard to spiritual excellence. This is about the administrative aspect, the last 5. Okay, so what is next? The graduation ceremony in Mayapur, February 26th, and I hope you will all be there. Certificates will be awarded by the GBC body to only those who have successfully completed all requirements, but you are invited and encouraged to attend even if you have a course or 2 that you have not finished yet, or you have some ALP blocks incomplete. I strongly encourage you to finish everything before you come there, but if you can't, please still come, and would like to acknowledge you at the ceremony, but you will get your certificate upon completion, successful completion of the course. What's next from the GBC college? We are preparing checklists that will facilitate your job as a zonal supervisor in various areas such as book distribution, DD worship, etc. And we identified, as I was going through your job description and mapping it to the courses that we did, we have identified some gaps, and we will plan on offering these courses hopefully online or in some ways recorded from a live presentation, and we plan to share with you. We'll let you know how this will pan out. So here's a list of courses that we were not able to cover in this first year. And finally, here you are, a trained potential zonal supervisor, fully equipped in these 5 modules: spiritual excellence, personal effectiveness, relationship effectiveness, organizational effectiveness, compliance, and administrative effectiveness. If you see yourself in this picture, it means that you attended the second residential and you stayed till the end. But that does not guarantee that you have successfully completed your course. There may be other requirements that you have not fulfilled, and vice versa. If you're not in the photo, that doesn't mean that you have not completed your course either. So with that in mind, I would like to acknowledge that Gauranga Prabhu and Rasik Raman Prabhu, they laid the foundation for this presentation. I simply embellished it, I put some details into it. With that, I would like to once again thank all of you from the core of our hearts on behalf of the GBC College, trustees, advisors, faculty, instructor assistants, and staff in various categories, technical, managerial, secretarial, for allowing us to serve you through this past year so you may be more effective in the discharge of your current and future duties and responsibilities in ISKCON. All glories to your dedicated selfless service. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyeva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.